Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today I'm going to show you some new items that are new on my website, and we're going to make a necklace using one of them. So I know I did an upload just a few days ago of new items on my website, and I would have included these in that, but they hadn't come yet, and I didn't think they were coming for a while. But apparently they came quicker than I thought. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do another video because these are too pretty not to show. It's a lot of really cool metal pieces. And then I'm going to do a necklace using one of them. So our encouraging word for today is a gentle word, a kind look, a good-natured smile can work wonders and accomplish miracles. And that was said by William Hazlitt, or Hazlitt. I'm not sure how you pronounce his last name. Sounds like he was a wise man. Okay, so we have some new items available on the website, and let me pull out a quarter because you're going to need a size reference for some of these things. So first off are these patina pieces. Now I absolutely love these. This is double-sided. It is not huge. I mean, it could be used for earrings if you wanted to, or a necklace. And I'm not going to be using this piece today, but I'm going to be using one similar to it. I love this style right here where you can hang something, a bead or something through this. So all of this is up on the website right now. This is one of the new pieces. And then another one similar to that is this one. And this one is really pretty as well. You could also hang something from this loop if you wanted to. But I thought this one was really pretty. This is not the one I'm going to be using today either. But there's your quarter for size reference. So this is the one I'm going to be using today to make a necklace, and I love this piece so much. Let me move these out of the way. So here it is. It's got all these little dangles on the bottom, and I'm going to make a spectacular boho necklace today with a lot of sparkle, a lot of chain, using this piece and some other stuff. So yeah, I love this piece. I thought it was really, really cute. Okay, and here it is next to the quarter if you want to see how big it is. Okay. Then I got a couple of interesting pieces. So this is a sunburst. You could glue a cabochon in here, like it looks like about a 10mm cabochon would fit, or 8. Or you could glue a little rhinestone in the middle there. But I thought this was really cool for a pendant. Yeah, just really neat. It's a big sun. It is quite large, but not too large for a pendant, I don't think. I like big jewelry though, so that's just me. And then you talk about large, here's this one. Now this one I think is so cool though. I mean, on a long necklace hanging way down with maybe some seed bead strands, and oh, this would be so cool. So this is like a tree with the moon, and how it looks very Halloween-y. It would be really cool for Halloween, I think. But I love the patina around it. It's just really cool. But it is very large. But like I said, I don't mind that one bit. So there's that one. And then this one as well. And this one came in a couple different, some of them are more patinaed than others. I don't know how that works when you patina things. I don't do that a lot. But if you can see, this one is more on the edges. This one's more in the middle. So, you know, it would just be random what you would get because they're all kind of mixed. But it's large too, this one is. But I just think they're so cool. Just such a pretty statement necklace. But again, they are large, so keep that in mind. But they do have bails attached and everything, and I just thought they were really, really cool. So there's both of the trees. And then I got some teeny tiny, we'll go from large to small, teeny tiny little seahorses. These are so cute. They are tiny though. They are like little tiny little bit. Oh my goodness, how cute would they be on a little pair of earrings? So there they are, size reference for your with the quarter. They are tiny, but they're adorable. And then I got the mermaid lockets back in. A couple people had asked about these. You can put an 8mm or below bead in here, and she's just a little locket. You could put a lava bead in there and put essential oils on it. So this would be a great gift for somebody that uses essential oils. It's just a little mermaid locket. Okay. And then I got some Southwestern style charms. So I got this one. Someone, Robbie Bragg had sent me some of these before, this one and this one. And everybody really liked them and wanted to know where they could get them. So I ordered them, and now they're up on my website. So I don't have a whole big bunch of each of them, but I have a few. So This is the wolf with the feathers, and this is the arrowhead with the wolf, and I just thought they were really cool. So I still have the ones that Robbie sent me, but I ordered some as well. And this is looking gunmetal on the camera. I think it's because it's reflecting my black shirt, but I've got on black, but it is actually bright silver. It's not gunmetal, so there are those. There's this quarter if you want to see how big they are. And then I got these little faux sea glass turtles, and these are so pretty. So here they are. Look at those. They're adorable. Oh my goodness, I love them. So they're like an aqua color. They're just really pretty little turtles, and they're faux sea glass. Okay. I have some new resin pieces that I've uploaded. So here's one of them. These are all drilled. Everything's drilled, so it already has a hole in it for you to hang it by, but oh, I love these. I think this one is very happy. I love this pink and yellow colors. Turned out so pretty. Here's another one. This one has a bail with it, but just look at how the resin does in there. It's almost feathery. I think it's so pretty. That's the back of it, but so pretty. This one I debated keeping because I like it so much, but if nobody buys it, I probably will. It's so pretty. There's that one. Here's a couple more. Can't get this one out of the bag I've got it in. Goodness, it will not. Well, okay, there we go. Ooh. This one's really pretty too. It's really cool effects when you use that resin. Okay. And then this one's a heart. Already got the bail attached. So just really cool. Okay, so there's all those. And then I did get some gold and wavy spacer beads in. So these have been really popular. I love using them too. But there's the gold ones. They're really cool. They're, like I said, they're wavy, so you can layer them on things and they look really cool. So I got those in gold. I've already got them in antique copper and antique silver, but I've got a similar one to this one. So this one, they're a little bit different, if you can see. This one has these lines on it, and this one doesn't. It's just smooth. But the antique copper ones and the silver ones on my website have the lines. They're not like these gold ones. They're like these. So I've got these in the 3 colors now. I love using these too. I think they give a lot of texture to your project. Okay, let me put these gold ones back. Alright, and then these are really cute. These are extender chains. And they have a little sunshine on the end. And they say on the back, made with, well, this one's got a tarnish spot or something. Let me put him aside. He's not a good example. Made with a smile. So there they are. Made with a smile. And the little sunshine on the front. Aren't they cute? Little extenders. So got those. I'll have to fix that little tarnish guy. And last but not least, I got some seahorse charms. So I have these in silver already. But here they are in antique bronze. I don't know why he's shinier than him, but let's look at all of them. Yeah, there they are. They're all just a little, I guess it's just the way they're coated or whatever, but some of them are a little shinier than others, but they are pretty. I like these little seahorse charms. Okay, so that is everything new up on the website. It's all up there right now, and let me clear this off, and we are going to make a necklace using this piece. Okay, so I will be right back. Okay, so we're back. Now, please don't be frightened by the state of my bead mat. I know it looks crazy, but I've got everything laid out like I'm going to put it together, and it's really not going to be as crazy as it looks. It's just looks crazy right now. Okay, so I'm going to tell you everything that you're going to need. One thing I did not pull out was a clasp. And that's something that we're going to need. So I'm just going to use a lobster, just a regular little lobster clasp, because this is, there's going to be a lot of strands here, and I want there to be a lot of strands, but I'm just going to use a lobster. We're going to keep it simple. Okay, so for the first layer, let's just go layer by layer. That'll make it easy. For the first layer, you're going to need, I'm using, let me scoot this up just a little bit more if I can. There we go. So I'm using this pendant piece right here. I'm going to hang this Z bead in between these two things. Now you can hang any bead you have. It does not have to be a Z bead. It can be anything. You're going to need an eye pin to do that. Okay, then I've pulled out a bunch of beads. So let me show you the beads I've got. I have these glass beads right here. These came from DD Beads, ddbeadsonlineshop.com. I will link in the description box below. These also came from DD Beads, and these are like a really pretty, they have a beautiful shimmer finish on them, like a little disc bead or rondelle almost. Okay, I'm using those. These are just some rondelles I had in my own stash. They are 4mm, and they're copper coated on half and like a really pretty blue on the other half. These are small metal, these are faceted little metal spacer beads. I think these are fire polish, and they had them on sale at Hobby Lobby a long time ago, and I bought a bunch of them, and that's what those are. Okay, that's the first layer, and then we're going to be using some chain. So I've got some smaller link chain here. Okay, I'm not sure, it's like a probably 3mm links of copper chain. That's row number 1. I'm going to be stringing this part of it up with tiger tail or beading wire. So I've got beadle-on beading wire here in kind of a copper color, and I just have about an 8-9 inch, well, that's probably about a 12-inch piece. I don't think I'll be using all that. Maybe, we'll see. And in order to string that, I've got some crimp beads and crimp tubes over here. I have some wire guardians, and then I have some bead caps. I'm going to be using these larger bead caps on the Z beads and some of the smaller bead caps here on these glass beads. Okay, so that's layer number 1. Layer number 2 is just some chain. Now this is chain I got at the Intergalactic Bead and Jewelry Show, or Bead and Gem Show, whatever it's called. And I'm going to be using just a chain layer here. Okay, layer number 3. I've got the same Z beads. I have some Preciosa bicones, and this is a Tanzanite shimmer, or no, it's a topaz shimmer, I'm sorry. Topaz shimmer, and I've got them in, I believe this is blue zircon, but these came from beadingschool.com, these bicones did. And then these are table cut beads, and I've had them in my stash for a while. I think they actually came from Michael's or somewhere. We're going to be beading these sections on either head pins or eye pins or wire. I can't decide which. Let me grab my wire. Okay, so here's my wire. It is a parawire. I believe it, I can't tell because Hobby Lobby stuck the sticker over top of it. I believe it is a 20 gauge. It feels pretty thick, and I think it will work good to put these on if I decide to use the wire instead of eye pins or head pins, which I may have to do for the bigger section, so we'll see. But I do have that. And then I will be using some chain as well on the 3rd layer. So I do have some other chain over here. This is a little larger link chain. It's probably a 6mm link here. And I just have a pile of it. It came off of a spool. But I will be putting some chain in between those pieces right there. In here and up the side. Okay, now for the top layer, I have a whole big bunch of the bicones from beadingschool.com. These are in several different shades, and I've mixed them with these little metallic beads and the rondelles. These little rondelles right here that I showed you a minute ago. So I've mixed them all up here. There's 3mm, 4mm. There's nothing bigger than 4mm in there. But what I'm going to do is I've got some soft flex beading wire here, okay, and this kind of it's not really a copper collar, but I don't think it's really going to matter. And I've got 5 strands of it cut at about, I don't know, 10 inches per strand. And we're going to string these all up and then kind of braid them or weave them around to where it looks like, I want it to look like this on the top layer. And then I've got 2 cones here to put all the wires in. And again, we'll be using our crimp beads or crimp tubes for that. And then I will probably put some chain here on the ends. And I may do a layer of chain here, depending. So, like I said, there's a lot going on here, but it's really not going to be difficult. It's just a lot going on. So we're going to go back down to the first layer. So get everything together if you want to make this. I'm going to take this piece of chain out just so it's out of the way. And we're going to come back down to the first layer, and we're going to do it first. So you're going to need all your jewelry tools too. That's a given in any of my videos. I don't feel like I should even have to say that. I mean, I feel like everybody should know. I shouldn't have to sit here and tell you what tools you're going to need. I think everybody should know that pretty well. You're going to need all of them. All your jewelry tools. Round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, crimpers, cutters, the whole bit. Okay? So, where are my cutters? I've misplaced them. Oh, there they are behind me. Okay. Alright, so we're going to take our eye pin first. And we're going to put our Z-bead on here. Now, I'm going to use a couple of these bead caps for him. I just think it gives it a little bit of fanciness. And yeah, I like the way that looks. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the eye pin, insert it into this piece, put our beads on. Now if you wanted to use some small little spacers in here, you might be able to. I think my Z-bead's fitting pretty well. He's a, I'd say a 12 millimeter, but I want this to go through this hole. There we go. Let me look here real quick. Pull out my handy dandy beadsmith mat, and yeah, he's a 12 millimeter Z-bead. Alright, so here's what I've got. Now, I'm just going to take this little end of my eye pin here, and I'm going to just make a loop. I'm going to bend it at 90 degrees like this. I'm going to cut it right off. And then I'm just going to take my round nose pliers and roll a loop back. Okay, just like that. And there we have our little focal. I love these. I think they're so cute. Okay, so now we're going to use the tiger tail, and we're going to bead up each side of this. So let me find my tiger tail. Here it is. Where to go? All right, so I'm going to need to cut it, because I'm going to be doing a section on each side of this, not just one long section. And so I may just use this piece on one side and then cut another piece, we'll see. But the first thing I'm going to do is close this end off. So I'm going to take my crimp tube and my wire guardian, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put my crimp tube on. Put my wire guardian on, so we go in one channel, up and around. So you put your crimp tube on, then you take your tiger tail up through one channel of your wire guard, down through the other channel, okay. Well, it's really not that hard. Okay, down through the other channel. Let me get a good grip on him. It's kind of hard trying to do the things on the camera. Okay, and then I'm just going to go back down through my crimp tube. So let me scoot this up a little bit here. Okay, I'm back down through the crimp tube. So I have both pieces of my tiger tail in the crimp tube, and they're going up and around the wire guardian. Now what I want to do, I always do this with my wire guardians. I just like the way it looks. I'm just going to bend this in, and I did not mention, but we are going to need some jump rings as well. Maybe. You might need some, just in case. Just have them ready. Okay. So I bent that in. Now I'm just going to scoot it up. I don't want there to be any wire loose like this on this loop. So I'm just going to scoot it up here. I'm going to make sure that my wires are not crossed. They need to be side by side. And then I'm going to take my crimping plier. I'm going to lay the tube in the little channel here. I'm going to scoot this up again to make sure that there's no thread hanging loose up there in the wire guardian. And I'm just making sure that my wires are not crossed again, because for some reason this wire is kind of unruly today. I don't know what it's doing. It's crazy. Okay, here we go. All right, and then I'm just going to crimp it down. And what it does when you crimp it down is it puts each wire in its own little channel. Then you turn it sideways in your crimper, pick out whichever divot works best, and just close it up. Okay? So there I have it, my little crimp. It's tight. Give it a good jerk on there. And now we're just going to put our beads on. So I'm going to start with this little rondelle bead. I'm going to do a couple of these little metal spacers. Okay, I'm just going to take this wire and tuck it up inside these beads. I don't like to cut it off right at the place, you know, right up here, because I just feel like this is a little more secure if you do this. Okay, so two of those. I'm going to use one of these disc beads, another little spacer. And you can do this however you want. I just kind of have the beads laid out here. I'm not even sure. You know, I'm not saying that I'm just going to pick them up in this pattern that I have laid out. I just kind of laid everything out so I could see it. So I have more of these up here. I've got these little spacers here. So these are a brighter copper color. These are a little more of a dark. I'm going to put them over here. And then I have my rondelle beads here in case I need any more of them. Here they are. So I may, you know, do something different. We'll see. So I'm going to pick up one of these rondelles, I think. Okay. Let's do another one of the disc beads. Another spacer. And then I'm going to use one of the smaller bead caps here, okay? Just going to put it on, not that way. Put it on this way. Then my glass bead. And then another bead cap. Okay, so just like that. That's what I've got so far going on. Now what do I want to do? I think I will add another spacer and another rondelle. Possibly a disc bead. I don't think so. I think I'm just going to do another bead cap and a glass bead. Bead cap, glass bead. I like these boho style necklaces. You can just use a ton of different beads, and I think it makes it really pretty when you do. Alright, and then I will do another rondelle, another little spacer. Then we're going to go disc bead, rondelle, spacer, disc bead, just like that. Rondelle, another spacer. And then I think I will do another bead cap, this glass bead, another bead cap, a rondelle, and one of these brighter spacers over here. Okay, so there's what I've got so far. Kind of like to add a few more beads. Let me grab my other glass beads and little disc beads. Dee Dee Beads has really pretty stuff, guys. You need to check her out. Really pretty stuff, unique stuff too, and the prices are great. Okay, so I got my spacer. Let's see, let's do another bead cap, glass bead, and a bead cap. And then I'm going to do, where my rondelles go? I'm going to do rondelle, the brighter spacer over here. Let's see, the saucer bead, rondelle, another spacer, another saucer bead, a rondelle, and a spacer. And that, I think, is going to be the end of my sequence for this little part that's going to connect here. So we need to do the same thing on the other side. So get your tiger tail, bead up the other side just like we did on here, adding your crimp and everything, and then come right on back. Okay, so I've got my other side beaded up, and one thing I like to do is lay them side by side, just make sure everything is correct, because it's easy to miss a bead, and then you put your whole necklace together and you're frustrated because it's not the same on both sides. Okay, so all we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and crimp this part just like we did the other parts. So I'm just going to take my 2 wire guardians, my 2 crimp tubes, and we're just going to crimp both of these in. So I'm just putting on my crimp tube, my wire guardian, and I have too much tiger tail, but you guys, I save all of my scraps for this tiger tail because it's really good for if you're doing tassels. You can always use them later. So just save all your little tiger tail scraps if you cut yours long like I do, because I tend to cut it long because if I don't, I'm afraid I won't have enough room to crimp it and everything on the end. So, and I don't like to work off the spool. I know a lot of people do that, but I don't like to. It's hard, I think. Okay, so you want to crimp this. You want this to be tight, but you don't want this to be stiff. You want this to have movement. So be careful when you go to crimp this down that you just don't make it to the point where it's like poker straight, because then it's going to look really weird. Okay, and if I could get this to lay down in there. Why is it not? There we go. Okay. All right, so I just kind of hold it, I pull, and then I just crimp it down. And I just turn it sideways and close the little crimp up. Okay, always jerk on it to make sure that it's secure on there, and then I'm going to cut my wire, and here is our little piece, and we're just going to do the same exact thing over here. Okay, so here is our first layer. Now what we can do is look at your connector here with your ZB that we made, our little eye pin connector, and we're going to just go ahead and I'm going to connect the wire guardians directly onto here. So you want to make sure that these are both laying like this, okay? Make sure they're laying the same way. If they're not, just hold one in one plier and twist the other one until they are. Just open this right up, put your wire guardian right in there and close it. Make sure it's closed really good, because if you don't get it closed really good, then you're going to end up with your necklace falling apart. And nobody wants that. Okay. And now we're going to take the other side, do the same exact thing, just hook it right on there. I don't know why that one was kind of strange, like this loop didn't want to open. It's like the eye pin was really soft or something, I don't know why. And we'll just close it right back up. Okay. And here is our bottom layer piece. Now we're going to add chain to this, okay? So you kind of have to, this is your own personal preference as to how long you want this to be. But we're going to do another 3 layers, so keep that in mind. So, I mean, I'm probably going to take, I've got a piece of chain here that is about, let's see how long this is. I've got about 17 inches of chain. I think I'm just going to cut this in half, because this is my longest piece of this finer chain, and I really kind of want to use this finer chain on this layer. I think I do. Maybe I should take a step up just, well, let me look here. So if I cut this in half, how long is this going to be? I'm just going to measure really quickly. Okay, so this is going to be about 10 inches, and about 10 inches plus another 5 inches. So it's about 15 inches per side. Let me look at my little cheat sheet. I have a little cheat sheet that tells me how long I like my necklaces to be. 15 inches to the, okay, so that should work, because a Y necklace, okay. So 15 inches per side, that sounds about right. So I'm going to do my chain about 10 inches. These are about 5 inches, so we should be pretty good. So I'm just going to take this chain. I'm going to find the midpoint. Where'd my eye pins go? Head pins and eye pins and stuff like that. Okay. The way I do this is I hook my last link on here and my last link on the other side here. And then I just hold this up and you can find the middle really quickly. Okay. And then I'm just going to cut that middle link. Just like that. And I am going to take a small jump ring and I'm going to hook these right on to the wire guardians. The chain right onto the wire guardians. We'll have our first layer done. Find where that opens up right there. They're tiny. All right. So just hook your chain right onto your wire guard. And we're good to go. Okay, just like this. Close it up. Make sure it's closed up really good. And same with the other side. Where'd my other side piece go? And you got your first layer done. And I really, really, really love this piece down here. And I like the other ones too, but I really like this one just because it had the dangles. I just thought it was so cute. I'm going to use this end of this chain. Having trouble holding on to things today for some reason. I've dropped things all day long. It's been one of those days. It's been a frustrating, see, I just did it again. It's been a frustrating day that way, and it's also been a frustrating day technically. Everything I've tried to do today has messed up. Poor Chris, he's had to come to my rescue. I couldn't get my light box to come on. Don't know why. Something had burned up. He had to fix that, and then I'm having trouble getting a video uploaded, so he's been helping me today. All right, so there's our first layer, okay? Now, you can leave your first layer laying out here. I tend to like to do that because I like to measure my second layer by it, and we're getting ready to start the second layer, so I just leave your first layer out if you're, if you want to. Okay, for the second layer, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do this middle piece on wire because I don't have eye pins or head pins long enough to make a continuous piece, and I really kind of want this to be a continuous piece. So I'm going to cut about 5 inches of wire here, and I'm just going to kind of bend it in a little bit of a curved shape, okay, like this. Now I'm going to make a loop on the end, and I'm going to do a wrapped loop, okay? So I'm just going to bend this over. I'm leaving about, I don't know, a little bit, about an inch maybe, a little bit more. I'm going to take my round nose pliers. I'm going to go up and over, rotate these up, and go around. And there I have a little loop, and I'm just going to grab my loop, and then I'm going to take my pliers and I'm just going to wrap this around a couple of times. Okay. This is actually not round wire either. It's, I don't know if it's called square or flat, but it's not round. So it's a little bit weird to work with, but I think it's going to work out. This is the only 20 gauge in copper that I had, and I definitely wanted it to be 20 gauge for this, so. Okay, I'm just going to tuck my little snaggle in, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a little messy. This is boho. Okay, now I'm just going to take my bicone, And now I'm going to do the bead caps again on the Z bead. So bead cap and Z bead, bead cap. Got another bicone, our table cut. The table cut is a little hard to get on there. Another bicone. And then bead caps again. So bead cap, Z bead, bead cap, bicone, table cut, bicone, our bead cap, Z bead, bead cap, and the last bicone. Whoops. Okay, so pull it all down, and we've got this little component here. I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the other side and make a wrap loop. So 90-degree bend, my round nose pliers. I'm going to go up, over, and around. Then I'm going to grab the loop with my pliers and I'm going to wrap a couple of times. Just like that. Okay, then I'm going to cut this. Sorry if you can hear some mega thumping outside. Somebody is driving by. I hate when they turn their stereos up like that and like the whole neighborhood shakes. It's just annoying. Okay, and tuck this little piece of wire in. Okay, so there's our center component. Now you can bend it a little bit if you want. I kind of think I will maybe do it like this. All right, we're going to put chain in between these, but we're going to make this other component here the same exact way with our wire, because again, I don't have a head pin or an eye pin long enough, so I'm just going to do it on the wire. It's easy anyway. So, whoops, let's do a 90-degree bend. Our round nose, up, over, around. Grab the loop there and wrap a couple of times. That loop. Okay, and I'm just going around just a couple of times. You can even do it with your finger if you want to, and I'm going to cut that off. And for this one, I'm going to do, let's see, I think I lost, no I didn't. Okay, bicone. Well, he didn't want to go on there, did he? Bicone. Why are you not wanting to go on there? Okay, well, I'll just pick a different one. Don't know why that one was having issues. Those went on just fine. What is the deal? Huh. Let's try this guy. Alright, maybe I need to cut my wire at a point. Maybe that's what's going on here. I know my wire's not fatter because it came off the same spool. What is the problem? Y'all saw I just strung bicones on that one with no problem at all. Alright, they're not wanting to go on this wire. Let's see, I used down there the Topaz Shimmer. I don't think I have any more of those up here. That might be the problem. Okay. Well, I tell you what we're going to do then, because clearly these are not going to work on this. We're just going to do the rondelles. They'll work. So we'll do rondelle. This is what you call improvising. Table cut bead. Bead cap, Z bead. Bead cap. Table cut bead. Somebody's at the front door. Sadie's gonna go mad. You guys will hear her in a second. I don't know who it is. Hopefully Chris will get it. Okay, there's Sadie. I'm sure you guys can hear her. Bend that 90 degrees. Go up and over and around. I don't have a lot of wire left here. grab this and wrap just enough to secure it is really all you need. All right, there we go. And I'm just going to tuck it in here. There we go. Okay, and there's our little element. Now we're going to connect these with chain. I need to make one more, so make one more and come right on back. Okay, so we've got all our little components here. Now we're going to need to lay our chain piece back in here. Remember, I had a chain piece in between these other pieces because I need to be able to figure out where I'm going to want this to hang. So my chain piece is going to have to hook into the other chain piece up here somewhere. And I really would like, I just kind of lay this out on my bead mat like it would be on my body. And I hook them in. I just kind of lay it out and judge that way. I've tried using the beading boards. I don't really care for them. I prefer just to do it this way. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just laying this chain out so I can just kind of get a gauge of where I need to go with this next piece. So if that hooks in right about there, then we're going to want this to be up here. Okay, and I'm just going to take my chain. Now this is a little bit thicker chain. This is the 6mm, and I'm going to, let's see, so this is going to be my centerpiece. These are going to go up the sides. So I need a span to go right in here. So just a small span. I don't want a big, huge bunch in there. And I think that might do it. I might cut just a couple more links off of it just to be sure, because we're going to use, I don't know if we'll use jump rings. If your link opens, you can just attach it straight to your loops, but I don't know that this link opens. I'll have to check it here in a second. Okay, so I'm just going to measure the piece that I've cut and cut one more. This is a super easy way to measure chain. You don't have to count links or anything. Alright, and then it's going to have to go up the sides from here on. So let's go ahead and attach it. Let me see if my chain opens, if these links open. If they are, I'm just going to put them right onto the, and it doesn't look like they do though. So I'm going to attach them with little jump rings. These little tiny, tiny jump rings. And we'll just go ahead and attach the chain to our components. Okay, so go ahead and get your chain all attached on both sides. Okay, so here we have our pieces all attached together. So now this is going to have to attach up here with some chain too, but I'm going to wait until I get our next layers done before I worry about that, because I want to make sure that I get everything hanging right. And this is a process. When you make one of these multi-layer necklaces, you kind of have to be really patient and just, it's a process. Okay, so we're going to work now on our strands up at the top. So I'm just trying to get a few of these beads out of my way. And I'm getting my crimp beads mixed in with my spacers. So let me just clean off this bead mat just a tad so we can work, because we're going to be needing our crimp beads down here. And there's a couple rondelles I'll throw up in there. Okay, now for this last layer, I want all of this to look very organic and kind of like it is right now, like it's laying here. So I've got 5 pieces of soft flex beading wire up here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some bead stoppers. And if you don't have bead stoppers, you can use binder clips. You can use a piece of tape if you need to, but just, it's kind of a good thing to do this, because otherwise you're going to end up with your beads falling off the end and you're going to be very, very frustrated. And no one wants that. So let's put a bead stopper on here, and I'm going in quite a ways. I want there to be a little bit left at the end. And I'm just going to start randomly stringing these on, okay? Whoops. Well, until they fall off. Yeah, I'm just going to randomly string them. The little spacers and the bicones and the rondelles, I'm not even looking really at what I'm picking up next. I'm just going. Just gonna grab a bunch because these are gonna be like in a big jumble, hopefully. That's what I'm going for. Just a really sparkly, beautiful jumble of beads. So I'm just picking them up. And I'm going to bead probably, let me see here. Let me move this guy in a little bit more. Okay. I'm probably going to bead about 6 inches on each piece of my soft flex beading wire. Okay. So you need to do that too. Just, there's a bunch of spacers. If you want, you can even add seed beads in here if you don't have like a lot of bicones and stuff. Because it is going to take quite a few to get 5 strands, 6 inches. You're looking at 30 inches of beads, okay? But you can use seed beads in there, mix them in. I do actually have some, what did I do with them? Yeah, here they are. No, they aren't. Yes, here they are, okay. So I do actually have some turquoise seed beads that I may throw in here, and I had some copper seed beads. Here they are. So I may throw these, some of these seed beads on these strands as well, just to take up some room. So I have enough bicones and sparkly rondelles there. Just do it. Go ahead and bead up all of your strands. All 5 strands, do about 6 inches on each strand, and then come right on back here, and we'll connect them all, okay? Okay, so one thing I did want to mention, I've got my 6 inches of beads here, but you do want to do about, I don't know, a 1/2 inch on each side of just seed beads, okay? So go ahead and do that, because that's going to make it a little easier to fit in your cone when we put all of these strands together and try to fit them in the cone. If you have smaller beads on the ends, they're really not going to show. They're going to go up into the cone. But that way it'll make it just a little bit easier for us to get them up into the cone. So do about a 1/2 inch of just seed beads on either side of each strand, okay? Okay, so I've moved my other rows out of the way for just a minute. You are going to need a couple of clamshell covers, and I'm sorry I neglected to say that. I didn't think about that until just now, because we've got all of our beaded rows here, or I guess they're not rows. What are these? Strands. And what we need to do is we need to put them together, okay? So you need to make sure that this end down here, all of them are pretty much at the same length on this end. So the way that I'm going to do that is I'm going to grab it right here, okay? I am going to take a crimp tube and a clamshell cover. Now, I'm just going to take my cutters. Where are my cutters? And I'm going to even this out right here. You want this to all be kind of the same length so you can get it through here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clamshell cover and I'm going to put all of my pieces of wire through it. No, I'm not. I'm going to take my tube here. I'm sorry, guys. I'm going to take my cone and put all of my pieces of wire through it. Then I'm going to take my clamshell cover. Now, if they all won't fit through your clamshell cover, what you can do is you can take a beading awl. First of all, you can open up your clamshell cover a little bit and make it just wider. And then you can take a beading awl and you can ream this out just a little bit and make your hole a little bit bigger. You can even do that with round nose pliers if you don't have a beading. I don't have my beading awl out here. I don't know where it's at. But I'm just going to take my pliers, make that hole a little bit bigger, and then all of these strands should fit right through it. Okay, so you can do that with a beading awl. It's better, but I just sometimes use my round nose pliers if I can't find my beading awl. Okay, and now it's a little tricky, but just make them all go in there. They will. They'll all fit through. Just takes a little patience, which I don't have today. And if you get them through one by one, then you can just pull the rest of them. See, I got most of them through, except for this last one, so let's just take him. It doesn't matter if these wires are twisted up. It doesn't matter because we're going to twist them all up anyway. There we go. Okay, so I've got all of them in there. Just want to make sure they're even. Now I'm going to take this crimp tube and I'm going to fit them all through the crimp tube. And they should all go through that as well, even if you have to put some through and then the rest of them. And this is like a size, I think it's a size 3 crimp tube. I could have used a bigger one, but I didn't really have a bigger one. So all it's going to do is hold them in place. So now you're just going to take your plier and mash that down. So just crimp it down really good. Make sure it's tight. You don't want it to slide on there. Just crimp it really good. Take your clamshell cover and come up. And just close your clamshell cover right over it. We're going to trim these off, these leftover pieces that are hanging out. And if you want to put a little bit of glue in there, you can, if that would make you feel more secure about it. A lot of times I do put some E6000 or just some cement, jewelry cement glue in there, but I think it's okay. I've got this smashed down pretty good, and I'm just going to close up my clamshell. Okay. So there is our little end, and I've noticed that clamshell doesn't have a hole through, so I'll have to fix that in a minute. Just going to scoop my cone down, and then one by one, I'm going to scoot all of these beads down, one row by one row. Okay, just scooting them all down, and we're just going to get them as tight in there as we can. Okay, so just take your beads, scoot them down, pull the soft flakes up, and just try to get them as tight in there so that there are no gaps, no big gaps. You don't want to see a lot of wire sticking through or anything, okay? Now, I'm going to trim this. I'm going to leave myself quite a little bit here still, but I'm just going to trim it up, so I'm working with a little bit less and it's even. Now, what I want to do now is I want to take these strands, and I want to be careful not to lose my beads off the end. But I'm going to lay them out kind of in the order that they're in naturally. Okay, so let's put this one up here. It seems to be toward the top. And again, be careful not to lose your beads because they will come off. This guy needs to go down toward the bottom maybe. Okay, so I've got them kind of laid out so where they are naturally. Now I'm going to kind of braid them. So I'm just going to overlap them over each other. And I want this just to be kind of a messy little, I want them all wrapped up kind of around each other and over each other. Hold your top still here, because if it twists, then everything you're doing is for no reason. It's just moving. So you want to kind of hold your top. And I'm just going to do this, just kind of braid them around a little bit. I just want them to go around each other, over each other, through each other, and be a little messy. Okay, let's take this bottom one down here. And you can do this however you want. You don't even have to do this if you don't want to. I just kind of want mine to be wrapped all around each other. And I'm continuing to make sure that my beads are tight on my strands. Let's go up here with this guy. Let's go down here. Through here. And once they're all kind of twisted around, you've got them like you want them. Okay. Then you want to pull this tight, and we're going to do the same thing that we did just a minute ago. We're going to crimp them. I'm going to braid just a little bit more. I kind of want mine to be, there we go. Okay, make sure they're tight. There we go. I kind of like that right there. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I should have done this a minute ago when I had my pliers out. I'm going to make the hole bigger in my clamshell cover. Now if you're using gunmetal and doing this project, you're good to go, because the gunmetal clamshell covers have really big holes in the bottom for some reason. I don't know why. But I'm going to make that one bigger. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put these through it. Just sticking them all through. There we go. I feel like I have, whoops, they all came off. That wasn't good. I felt like I had one rogue one. Let me trim them again. Where are my cutters? Okay, here we go. Let's trim them even. It's a lot easier if they're trimmed even. And I'm just going to try to get them in there again. This is the worst part of this whole necklace, I think, is trying to do this, but once you get it, you've got it. Okay, there we go. And the one last one that didn't want to go, stick him through. Okay. Nope, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put my cone on. Were you guys yelling at me? I bet you were. Let's put the cone on. I bet I could, if I would have listened, I could have heard you screaming through the internet. You don't have your cone on there. Okay, now I do. Now I have to do this again. It's kind of easier if you hold it by the top and the bottom. And just try to get them in there as best you can. There we go. Okay, hold on one second. I'm going to plug my phone in because it's telling me my battery is running low. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to take my crimp tube. And same thing. I'm just going to put them all through it. And once they're all in there, we're going to crimp it down. Alright, well, I thought I had it. There's one that doesn't want to go. There we go. Okay, there we go. Pull them tight. Make sure they're pulled up good, really good and tight. Okay, and I'm just going to crimp that tube down. Okay, crimp it good. You want it to really be tight. Okay, cut these off. I'm going to make sure it's crimped down really good with my blunt nose, short nose pliers. And we're going to close the clamshell. And we've made a really pretty strand, multi-strand piece here. I'll get this clamshell closed now. There we go. There we go. Okay. We made a really pretty little multi-strand piece. Now, I have a problem with my clamshell covers. For some reason, they both have one hole that is not completely out. So I am going to have to find my beading awl. Here it is. And I'm going to have to poke that out. That's really annoying. That's really strange that it's like that. They're both that way. So I'm just going to go through the hole of the first one and try to just ream out the hole in the second one. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm going to go off screen for a minute. I'm going to try to get it on this my bench block so I don't poke a hole through my finger when it goes through. Okay, there we go. So just try to get that if you have that problem. I've not had too many that have done that on me, and definitely not two at once that have not had their holes cut. Yeah, even my beading awl is not wanting to ream that out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is probably just put the chain through the hole that's open. Okay, so let's put our necklace back down here. So we have our big long strand on the bottom. Move these beads out of the way. Okay. We have our big long strand on the bottom. Then we're going to have this strand. So I want to line it up here on the table like I want it to go. This is important, okay? You have to lay this out like it would be on your body if you were wearing it. So just kind of like this. Here we have our chain piece. I'm just going to lay it there, and then we have this piece. Now, this piece needs chain on the ends, okay? So I'm going to bend this a little more so it's curving. I like it just like that. And I'm going to take some chain, and I'm going to just go ahead and attach a couple pieces to the ends. Probably a good, I don't know, 6 or 7 inch piece with a jump ring. And the reason I'm not measuring it right now is because this whole thing's going to have to hook together before we can really tell. But I know that this piece doesn't need to be super long, so I'm just going to cut about, I don't know, a 6 inch piece here. And I'm going to attach it to this piece with my jump rings. Okay, so just go ahead, attach it with your jump rings. We're getting ready to hook it all together, the whole thing. These little copper jump rings are very soft, I've noticed, and they bend a lot easier than other jump rings do. They just tend to bend all different ways, and then you have a hard time getting them closed back upright. I know copper is naturally a softer wire, so that's why, but there we go. Okay, so we've got that piece on. Same thing on the other side. Just attach it right on there. Okay. Now here we have our 3 pieces. Now I've got my seed bead piece here, so we're going to attach it as well, and it's going to need some chain at the top too. So I think with this one I'm going to use a little bit more of this decorative chain that I've got, and I don't have a whole lot left of it. Let's see if I have enough to do the sides of that. I don't know that I do. I think I do. Okay, so I'm going to take this decorative chain. I'm just going to cut it in half. Find the midway point and detach that piece. You know what? That's not going to work, I don't think. That's not going to work really good. I'm not going to do that, because if I do, it's going to be a whole lot of trying to figure out where the middle is and all kinds of stuff, and we don't have time for that right now. We're going on an hour for this, we're over an hour for this video, so let's just, let me grab another couple pieces. I've got some Rolo chain here. This would be great for this, so let's do that. So you can use any chain that you have. I'm just going to use this Rolo chain. I'm trying to give it some texture with different chains, so let me, we'll just take a couple pieces of this. This is actually already made into a necklace, which I don't need it to be. Let's take this apart. And again, I'm just going to take about 6-inch segments of this chain right here, and we're going to go right up the side with it right there. So I'm just going to hook it directly. No, I can't. This is too thick. I will have to put a jump ring on this to get this on the lobster claw clasp. In fact, these are closed links. Good grief. This is, so we'll just cut it. Cut your link if it's closed. Okay. And then I'm just going to measure an equal piece and cut the other one. Right down. I think I went a link too far, but that's okay. All right, so there we got that. Okay, now I'm going to attach this with jump rings as well. And the reason I'm having to attach this with jump rings to that is because that clamshell cover, the hole in there is not big enough to go through this Rolo chain. In fact, with one of my holes being blocked, I definitely, and I may have to come back later and fix that, but just for the sake of time, because I know we're running late on this video, I'm just going to go ahead and put it through the one hole, and then I will come back and fix it. So go ahead and attach this. I'm going to pause it. Okay, so we've got all of our strands here. Now what we're going to do is hook everything together. And I found the best way to do this is start at one side and work to your other side. So I have all of my chains here. Let me take this little connector off the end of this one. And I'm just going to take a ring. Now if you have a bigger ring, it's good. I don't. I just have this little jump ring, but this will work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I put them on in the right order. So I want to put on my first chain first, then my second chain, then my third chain, and then my last chain, just like this. Get them all on your ring, just like this. Close your ring up, and then you need to take another jump ring. Keep that to where they're all in order. Don't let them get out of order. Take another jump ring and go ahead and put it right through here, okay? So you've got all of your chains in order, and when you put this ring on, they can't get out of order. They'll have to stay in the order that they're in on the ring, okay? So now, let's take the necklace, and what you're going to have to do is measure it on yourself. So you've got your top up here that we just put together, and now you just need to kind of measure this on yourself and see where you want everything to lay. And you can hold it by your top ring up here, because you've got all your chains on there. They're not going to jump across each other if you hold it by your top ring here, okay? So just lay it out. You can actually hold it up to yourself if you want to. I kind of know how long that my necklaces need to be just because of I've made so many that I kind of know just where I want them to be. So all I'm going to do is I am going to take my other chains on the other side, and I'm just going to hook everything together because I kind of have them measured out just by sight the way that I want them to go. And I did this just by laying them out on the table, you know, when we were putting everything together, and I was just laying them out on the table. So I kind of did, you know, decided at that point how I wanted them to lay. So now I know my top chains up here are pretty much even. I may have to trim up just a couple, like this decorative chain that I've got here in the middle, or on the second loop. I'm going to take a couple of lengths off of it, just because it's really long. I've got it really long at the top, but this is totally personal preference. I mean, I can't really give you a length to measure it to. It's totally just what you like. You know, you have to really just kind of do it that way. So get them all together, and we're going to put them on the same way we did. So let me pull this down. So I'm going to do my inside chain first, okay? Then I'm going to do my next one. And I'm going to do my decorative chain, and then I'm going to do my last layer last. Okay, I'm going to close this up. And then I'm going to take another ring, and I'm going to attach my lobster on. So keep those in the order that you've got them in. Don't let them jump around. And then take another jump ring and go ahead and put your lobster claw on. Okay, now you can put extender on this if you want. I honestly do not think that mine, I definitely don't want to put extender on it because it's long enough. And now you've got both of your ends and everything attached together. So find your jump rings for your other side. And you may want to add another ring onto here just so you have something to clasp onto with your lobster. Just a bigger ring. So that'll help you. I've got a bigger one here. It is not copper, but I'm going to use it because I don't have any big copper rings, unfortunately. So I'm going to put this one on here just so I can find easily which one that I want my lobster to clasp onto. Okay. And I'm going to put this together. And we finished this gigantic boho necklace. So I'm going to put this on a form and I'll be right back and let you see it. Okay, so here's the necklace on. I felt like I really needed to kind of model it because I don't normally do this and this is like so out of my comfort zone. But I felt like in order for you all to need to see where it hangs and how it wears, this was kind of necessary. So let me scoot up a little bit. So there it is. Like I said, this is like totally out of my comfort zone. I don't like being on the camera, but I'm having to more lately because I'm doing videos with people and stuff. So, but yeah, I really like it. It's very long down here. Got the whole boho style, you know, the multi-chains, the multi-layers, and then up here, you could make this a little longer if you wanted. I kind of like it. I like the, I don't know, I like it up there kind of close to my neck because I just feel like it looks good. So I'm not sure this is the shirt I would wear with. I was just going for something that you could see it on. So, but yeah, I like it. I think it turned out pretty cute. It's very sparkly, if you can see the sparkle when I move in the light. So, like I said, I will have links in the description box below, ddbeads.com. These new metal pieces are up on my website, as well as the clamshell covers and just some of that kind of stuff. You know, the jump rings and all that's up on there. So, the bicones came from beadingschool.com. So check them out for that. I will link everything in the description box below. And thanks so much for your patience. I know this has been like a super long video, but it took a long time to make this necklace. So, but I like it. I think it turned out great. So I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.